I've wanted to do the trim around my window, and I've done it in other windows in the house, but I wanted to use PVC pipe because it's a lot lighter, it's easier to work with, and you just need a couple of things to make it work. It'll probably cost you about $6 for a window, and mine is 5 feet by 4 feet, I believe, and I still had some left over. I used some red duct tape to make the candy cane effect around the PVC pipe. And then I used a PVC pipe cutter in order to get the lengths I needed. I used nail polish remover to remove the label off the PVC pipe. It came off pretty easy, and it didn't take that long, so I didn't have to use any paint to cover it. Adding the duct tape was the hardest part because you needed to figure out which angle would work best for the candy cane effect. So if you did a wider angle, you would end up with a closer white trim. So here it's okay, but I still wanted it a little bit wider. So I ended up taking off the duct tape and redoing it, and then did a very narrow angle, and that gave me the wide candy cane effect that I wanted. In order for the duct tape not to get wrinkled, the easiest way for me was to pull the duct tape down and then rotate the PVC pipe with the other hand, and I didn't have that many wrinkles doing it that way. You will have to cut about 1/2 inch off the edges of the duct tape in order to fit your elbows. If you don't do this and you try to put the elbows and force the elbows in, they will not fit. And I forced it so much so that I actually cut the top of my hand. So just cut a trim off each edge and it'll fit snugly on there. You don't have to use any glue or anything, and you can take it apart at the end of the season. And here it is all done. So the elbows there is actually the bottom of my window. But because my window is over 5 feet, I think it's about 10 feet wide, and I did not want to make a frame that big, I ended up just doing an extra piece on the top of the trim, which is going to extend over. And the way that I'm going to do it is just going to do 2 PVC pipes and then put a ornament at the end of the PVC pipe to cap it off. Or you can also buy caps. They also sell caps for PVC pipes. And the only thing I did was hot glue that ornament into that PVC pipe. The way that I add my string lights is using zip ties. And I sometimes use 2, one on each side of the bulb, just because sometimes they don't stand up straight, but these seem to have been working with just 1. So I just zip tie next to each light bulb. And these are actually C9 bulbs. I got them at Home Depot a couple years ago, and I still have a whole roll left. I guess it wasn't very popular, and I got everything for really, really cheap. And I still have a ton of light string left over for my continuing holiday display. You could also buy these C9 bulb strings on Amazon. I've seen them in white string, green string, even brown string, if you were interested in getting these types of bulbs in. So the only thing about these are that you are going to have to customize them to what you're going to use it for. So you have to cut it where it ends, and then you're going to have to add your own outlet, so your female and your male outlet for the strings to work. And if you see closely, there's ridges on one side of the string, and then there's a smooth edge, and it pierces on those little peaks that you see inside that outlet to make this string work. So the way that I remember it best is where you see the bigger outlets. So there's a smaller one and a bigger one. The bigger one is the one that you would put the one with the ridges on, and the smaller one is the one that has a smooth side. Once you're ready to add the outlet, you do have to cut a little small slit right at the end so that they don't cross each other. And when you put it into the outlet, you're going to see that there's going to be like a little box that protects it from ever touching each other. Insert your electrical string into that side box there, making sure that the correct side is piercing each side. And then you just press it down and add the cap so you can have it protected from water. Do the same to the other end and you're all done.